Okay, so right now let's see what trading an edge really looks like. So trading an edge is all about what I call the trifecta. It's all about risk to reward, strike rate, and trade frequency. But one of the things that is important to understand is that trading is basically a numbers game. It's as simple as that, which is how much money do you make when you win versus how much money do you lose when you lose, and then how many times are you right versus how many times are you wrong. That is literally statistics. So this table shows us how much strike rate and risk reward we need in tandem for us to be profitable. So let's say that we have a 50% strike rate. Then in order to be profitable, we need at least a 1-to-1 to be break even. So anything above 1-to-1 is already going to make us profitable. With a 40% strike rate, a 2-to-1 already makes you profitable, but a 1-to-1 does not make you profitable. Then with a 30% strike rate, you need at least a 3-to-1 to be profitable. With a 20% strike rate, you need at least a 5-to-1 in order to be profitable. So this is to say that in our strategy, we aim for a higher strike rate, and that is why the risk to reward isn't as important, because sometimes you will see us taking a 1-to-1.5, a 1-to-2, and that is completely fine because our strike rate is high. And since our strike rate is high, we don't need the risk to reward to be as high. Now, even though you might have the biggest strike rate, let's look at what trading an edge really looks like. This is strike rate and losses in trading, which means the probability of consecutive losing trades within a 1,000 trade sequence. This basically means that even if you have a 60% strike rate, if you look at the 60% line, you can see that there is an 80% probability of you taking 7 losses in a row. There is a 98% probability of you taking 6 losses in a row and 100% probability of you taking 5 losses in a row. And why is this overall topic important? Because a lot of people get discouraged when they enter in 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 trade losing streak. But think about this. If you have a 75% strike rate, you are still going to take 4 consecutive losses guaranteed. And the reason why I'm putting this on here is for you to understand it does not matter your wins and your losses, because after 1,000 trades, if you stick to your plan and if you stick with what is giving you a statistical probability, you will be profitable. Now, drawdown versus recovery, and this goes pretty much in line with the risk that we are going to talk about on the risk management for personal account. 5% drawdown, basically you only need 5.3% to get back to break even. But if you go lower and lower and lower, if you lose 50% of your account, you need to double your account in order to make your money back to break even only. So the reason I say this is because a lot of people don't understand that on a personal account, there is no reset button. And so I hope that this drawdown in trading capital versus the return that you need to get back to break even really hones in the fact that when you don't have a reset button, capital preservation is number one. And we are going to talk about that in the next lesson. And I hope that this table helps you to steer away from gambling, any type of over risking, any type of, oh, I want to get back to break even, so let me risk 5%. No. We are here for the long game, and so we never really want to go anything below 20% drawdown. If you are in 20% drawdowns, then you are doing something wrong. Now, what will this look like? Basically, this is an equity curve simulator, and you can play with this on this website that is going to be linked in the show notes. And basically, we have the starting equity, the winning probability, the win to loss ratio, the number of trades you want to test this on, number of lines, which is number of times you want the program to run this. And then this is basically going to tell you the expectation of reward, your biggest max drawdown, your average max drawdown, your minimum equity and your maximum equity, and your average performance. The reason this is important is because you will be able to put on whatever strike rate and risk to reward you want to have, and this will show you what your max drawdown is going to be, like your worst case scenario max drawdown, and then your average max drawdown. So you can see that even with a 50% strike rate, our average max drawdown was still 5.8%. And the biggest max drawdown was 9.6%. So this comes to show once again that even if you have a profitable trading edge, which we do inside of the Simple Trading Edge, and you're so close to start learning it, then probabilities will play out. You are going to take some losers, but eventually you will become a profitable trader. Keep that in mind. So this is the balance that we normally have. It's strike rate, risk to reward, and trade frequency. And what does this mean? Well, if you want a high strike rate and you want a good risk to reward, then you have to decrease the trade frequency. The reason for that is because you can't find high probability setups, which means setups that are going to work 75% of the times every single day. So you need to reduce trade frequency. And if you are increasing your trade frequency, then you understand that you're either sacrificing on risk to reward or strike rate. And let me tell you, most of the times is on strike rate, unless you're aiming for a 1 to 0.5. And the same thing if you want to increase your risk to reward by a lot. Think about people that trade SMC. All of a sudden, they're entering in 1 to 10 RR trades, but how many times were they wrong until they got the 1 to 10? So this is basically the trifecta: strike rate, risk to reward, and trade frequency. And you need to understand, okay, how much do you want to trade? That is going to affect how much of a strike rate you are going to have, how much of a risk to reward. Let me tell you how I have this. I like to have a higher strike rate, and so normally I reduce the trade frequency and I reduce the trade drawdown to be able to have a 60 to 70% strike rate. So this is basically the balance that you need to have in trading, and this is how we have a simple trading edge.